Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Grave Chatter. I'm Maggie,
And I am Saloni.
and today we're going to talk about sleep paralysis demons. Saloni,
Yes,
would you like to educate everybody on sleep paralysis a little bit? I know you
sure.
did your research.
Sure. I didn't really find much, but what I did find, paralysis usually happens when you're conscious, but you can't really move or speak. Usually at the edges of sleep. So like when you fall asleep or like when you're waking up. It usually comes with a feeling of pressure on your chest. Hence, when people say like, "Oh, there's a demon on your chest," that's kind of
Hmm.
like the feeling that you're getting. There's difficulty breathing, hallucinations. So a lot of the stories that we're gonna read, there's the visual,
Auditory, yeah.
auditory. There's intense fear. I mean, if you can't really move and you see
Hmm.
something, there's gonna be fear.
Hmm.
They usually people. There's two ways to kind of explain it. So
Hmm.
one, it's usually like, oh, it's a demon or something like that, and then the other, usually people say that it's because your brain wakes up while your body is still in the REM cycle. So that's kind of how they explain it. But yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had it happen?
I okay, so not really, but the excuse me, the closest thing that kind of did happen was like whenever I was sleepwalking, but like my brain wasn't conscious, so like not
So it was like the
really.
opposite. It was like it flipped,
Yeah.
where your
Yes.
body was, yeah. That's
Did you?
actually, I've never thought about that before.
Like
Like sleepwalking's like the opposite of sleep paralysis.
that's what I'm saying, and it's because I was researching about this, and I'm like, it's actually terrifying seeing
Hmm.
like your mind being awake and you can't move, you can't speak. It's actually so scary. I feel like
Yeah.
it'd be terrifying. But yeah,
Yes.
did it happen to you?
Yeah. So I have not had it happen since I was in high school, but I would speculate that it was all in my junior year of high school. And I think because I like graduated my junior year, and so I was like really piling up all the classes I could and taking all the extracurriculars I
Mm.
could. And I did early birds. My classes started at 6:30 in the morning, so I was
Ooh.
like up at 5:30 and doing homework
Mhm.
till midnight or 1 a.m. So I was not getting
Mhm.
good sleep, and and then like stress and everything. So I think like all
Right.
of that together is what caused it. I know I've had it multiple times. I would estimate like
Mhm.
10 to 15 times. And in my experience, a few things that I've thought of because it's like it has happened enough where I basically started like collecting data on it, and I was like, so this always happens. And then, you know, I think it's
Right.
funny. I do it with my migraines too, where I'll like time my
Mhm.
migraines and stuff like that. And I'm like just collecting data on myself.
Dude, not
Um,
that you're collecting data. I feel like migraines more common
yeah.
than sleep paralysis. You're collecting data while your mind is essentially awake while you sleep,
Yeah.
which is
Well, and
crazy.
the thing is, when it first happened, I thought like I guess the first time it was kind of scary, but the second time I was like, wait, this is kind of cool because it only ever happened to me when there was a nightmare going on. So then to
Mhm.
me, for some reason, I was like, for some reason, my brain is realizing that a nightmare is going on. And then I'd just be
Right.
like, oh, then just wake up, Maggie, wake up, wake up. And eventually it would happen. But then I realized that's not really what was going on because I
Mhm.
did kind of get to the point where I was like, well, if I am in the dream and I realize I'm dreaming, I wonder if I can still like be awake, like walking around, making decisions, I guess, in the
Mhm.
dream. You cannot, at least not in my experience. But yeah, so like I've never had the whole demon situation, but I also was thinking
Hmm.
about it and I was like, I never bothered to see if I could open my eyes. So that's the part that kind of surprises me is when people are like, I saw someone standing in my room. I'm like, how did you open your eyes? Because either I never could or I never even tried.
So when it happened, were your eyes closed, but your mind, like you knew that you were awake, but your eyes
Yeah,
were closed and you couldn't open it, or you just didn't? You
I
said
don't
you
know
didn't
that I
try,
ever
right?
tried. Yeah. And the thing is, like,
Huh.
I'm awake, I'm aware of where I'm at. Like, there's a few seconds that I feel like are kind of cool where it's like you're in a nightmare, you realize there's a nightmare going on, and you're like, wait, I don't need to be scared about anything. This is a dream. And then
Right.
you kind of, then I would like try to move and you can't move. And that's the scary part because, like, I think I sleep on my stomach. So, like, the whole feeling like something's
That's
sitting on
odd
your
in
chest.
itself.
It's not good. They don't recommend it. Um, but people saying that it feels like something's sitting on your chest, I don't know if I would have that feeling. It doesn't feel like that because I sleep on my stomach. So like nothing's it doesn't feel like that.
Mhm.
It feels like you're breathing through a straw. Like it's really hard to breathe and
Oh,
you can't move. So like I've always been curious. I've never nobody's ever watched me have sleep paralysis. So like I don't
I
know,
would
but
hope
I've
not. The
I know
demons.
the demons. Ah, I should ask them. But I
You should
don't
ask your glass
know.
dolls
They've probably witnessed, yes. Yeah.
if they
But,
do the thought of that.
I in when it happens to me, I always, like, try really hard to move my arm, like, I'm trying to and people say, like, wiggle your fingers or your toes or something to, like, get it to
Mhm.
stop, but I would try to move my arm, and I don't know if I actually moved at all or if
Mhm.
it was just, like, me thinking I was moving it and actually making 0
Mm.
progress. So that's kind of what I have always wondered. But the other thing I've noticed is for me, if it happens once in the night, it's likely gonna happen a second time. So that's
Hmm.
probably the part that, like, sucks the most is, like, if it happens around 2 a.m. or something, I'm probably gonna go back to sleep, and I it's probably gonna happen a second time, so that part is not fun. Yeah,
Is it just like how long does it happen for?
just a few minutes. I
Like,
can't
are you like tired when you wake up? Is it like, oh, I didn't get a good night's sleep, or is it like you're still sleeping? But or it's like you know how you have like a realistic dream where it's like,
mhm.
oh, I thought that happened. Is it kind of like that?
So I think you are tired, but I think that's also probably because it happens when you're not getting good sleep anyways, so, like, I
That's
don't
true.
think it's just I don't think it's specific to
Mhm.
that night's sleep, I think it's beyond that. So you probably are tired, probably also stressed, which makes you more tired and stuff. Um, what was your second question?
Is it like a realistic dream?
I would not say so, but I will also add, I only get sleep paralysis if I'm already having a nightmare, and I only have reoccurring nightmares. Like, I
Huh.
can't recall, so that I could be lying, but I can't recall having a nightmare that I haven't had multiple times. So, like, and they're not realistic nightmares. They're, like, very there's, like they're
It's
not.
like, oh, the world is crashing down.
There's, like, one of me there's, like, a witch and these 2 buildings, and the witch is in the other building, and there's a big ditch in the middle, and, like, I just remember this being one of the, like, sleep paralysis times where I was, like, stuck in this ditch trying to escape, and I was like, "Wait, this is a dream." And that's
Oh,
kinda
so
when it,
you
like,
can
launched
tell it's a
into
dream.
eventually, not initially, though, like, not the whole time. It's just, like, when your brain starts waking up, but your body hasn't yet, and you just have that moment where you're like, "Wait, this doesn't make any sense. This is a dream."
Dude,
But
that's
it's kinda
actually
cool
kind of
because you're like
terrifying.
but in the moment, it's cool because 'cause you're like, "Oh, I have all this power, like, I realized I'm in a dream, what can I do now?" You can do nothing. You can do literally nothing. The dream's over, and now you're just stuck in your head, and
Right.
you're paralyzed.
Huh.
So you're in the new nightmare, you're in the real nightmare now.
Dude, that's actually oh my god.
Yeah, I
That
will
that would
say
actually that's actually so terrifying.
the only time I would say that I ever maybe saw a demon or something was not even a sleep paralysis, but it was like I just like immediately woke up and sat straight up. And in my house that I lived in, there was like the smoke detector had a little green light on it that cast a little bit of a glow. Like it was too
Mhm.
aggressive of a green light for a smoke detector, but it like cast this little dome, I guess, of a green glow.
Mhm.
And I just like woke up and I couldn't like my eyes were still kind of sleepy, so like I couldn't see very well. And also I'm like blind, so I didn't have contacts in, so I couldn't see either. And I thought I saw like this demon, I guess, standing right under this green glow. And I remember just like blinking so hard trying to get my eyes to clear up. And I was still seeing it, still seeing it, still seeing it. And I was like, this is obviously in my head, and I just laid back down and went back
Huh.
to sleep.
Oh my
But that one stuck
god.
with me, but that wasn't even a sleep paralysis, that was just, like, a random, like
That's you just being odd.
just, like,
And then
s
you're like,
woke
"Oh,
up.
yeah." You're like, "Come to North Carolina." While you have
Oh,
these while you have these awful dreams or whatever they are, and
that
you
was
also have the
supposedly
glass
yeah,
dolls,
dolls, yes.
and you have the
Yeah,
TV that just randomly turns on.
and the lights that flicker,
You're
yeah.
not helping your
But,
case.
like, if the demon guy is still just, like, hanging around me, he seemed pretty
Mhm.
cool. Like, he seemed like he was tall, he was pretty buff looking. I'm
So you
like,
fell in love with this demon?
"No, no."
What?
I'm just
Dude,
saying,
honestly,
like
real.
I know.
The toxic
I've
love.
seen books about that.
The toxic love, you know, the real.
Twilight.
It's actually, dude, bye. That's actually so funny.
I've seen this
No,
one
because it's
before.
so. I know how this ends. Well, like
That's my
it's not
story.
odd, but like that's, oh my god, dude, I would not. I would not sleep
But I'm
ever
glad I
again.
never like saw anything. Like this whole idea, I kind of
You saw the
understand the
demon.
feeling he's a friend.
He's, and that's how you get attachments.
I think I would understand the weight on your chest thing if I slept on my back and not on my stomach. But
Mm.
luckily, my brain has never encouraged me to open my eyes and been like, "Oh, there's a demon." So,
Oh my god.
luckily,
No, because
maybe
oh
my
my god.
dolls do think
Imagine
I'm
you were
eerie.
awake, like you're like laying down and you're like your head is facing one direction and either the demon's like when you open your eyes, the demon is right in front of you or behind you and you can hear the breathing, but you can't move.
We need to get into some of the stories because these actually do pop up in people's
Huh.
experiences of sleep paralysis. Luckily, I've not had that. I've just been paralyzed but aware of it, which is scary
Which is
enough,
good.
honestly. Like that's enough
Yeah.
for me. That's not fun.
That's
Yeah.
odd. That's actually so odd. But
Yeah.
you know.
But I think it is funny though that it happened frequently enough that A, I was collecting data on it, and B, I was like experimenting with it because I found out that it happens multiple times in a night because it happened once and I was like, maybe if I just calm down and try to like fall back asleep, then
Mhm.
it'll disappear or something. But I don't know if that helped or if that just like confused my brain and my body more to where it was
Right.
like, run it back, let's go again. It didn't
And
work the
another
first
one.
time. Yeah.
And
Or like
another one.
or like the demon was like, "Wait, it didn't work. Do it again."
Yeah, she didn't get scared. Do it again. Run it back.
Yeah.
Run it back, I say. She
Yeah.
has to get scared.
Yeah.
They wrote about like nightmares or like as like medical conditions that is like kind of linked to ingestion rising from the stomach. So that's kind of how they explained it back in the ancient Greece and Rome, which is kind of odd, but I'm like it doesn't make sense now because it has to do with your sleep and not with indigestion, which is kind of odd.
Yeah.
And then I also found in the 17th, 18th century in Europe, sleep paralysis, which usually called the incubus or like the nightmare. And mare is not like originally, well, yes, it means horse, but it also means like an evil spirit sitting on the sleeper, hence
Mhm.
nightmare and like, you know, which I never
It's
knew
like a
that.
horse sitting on your chest,
I never knew
basically.
that actually.
Yeah, no, me
Basically,
neither.
honestly. I was like, what? I knew nightmare was like a bad dream, but I'm like, how did they get nightmare from nightmare? But I didn't know that. Thought that was interesting. And then the 19th century medicine, usually people or like doctors classified it as night terror or like a nervous disorder. So kind of like what is happening now with the REM cycle, like which happened in the 20th century. People or like doctors, I guess, started classifying um this towards the REM cycle or this REM
Mhm.
sleep, which is interesting, which makes more sense than indigestion.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
But
it
yeah,
does.
but I have heard that people either do it scientifically or
Mm.
people also do it like spiritually or whatever. So I also do know that you have some names or like of
Oh,
things.
yeah. A lot of people also there's a lot of consistency around what people are seeing when they're seeing their sleep paralysis demons.
Hmm.
So, first one is the intruder, which is a shadowy figure or presence that feels menacing, and people often
Hmm.
describe seeing someone standing in the corner, lurking near the bed, or approaching slowly.
Okay. I
That
feel like with all of my stories that I have found, I feel like that was a
mhm,
common occurrence.
I think so too. The next one is the incubus, which is a sensation of
Mhm.
pressure on the chest as if someone is sitting or laying on top of the sleeper. This one's super common. I hear this all the time. I think this is why you all should not sleep on your backs, even though like every doctor and every chiropractor feels that you should. But or no, they say your side is the best, don't they?
No, they say the back because I sleep on my
Really?
side, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so bad for you, do." But I'm
That's
like,
actually
I really don't
crazy.
care.
Mine's the worst though, like sleeping on my stomach because
I
I'm
know the
like
stomach is bad.
sleeping on your stomach. and then you've got your head on a pillow, but you've got your head turned to the side, so your, like, angle is like, boop,
Yeah,
boop.
your neck
It's
hurts.
like yeah.
Your neck hurts
Um
and your stomach's fucked up and everything's bad, and I'm like, I feel like that's the worst way. But when I have pain
mhm.
in my stomach, that's the only way I like sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped sleeping with a pillow so that it at least is only cranking it to the side and not, like, up as well.
That's true.
Anyway, okay, the next one is the shadow person, dark, faceless
Mhm.
silhouettes that seem to watch or move around the room. That one I think is also really common, but that sounds kind of similar to the intruder. So I guess it's the
Yeah.
difference between if you see their features, then it's an
Mhm.
intruder, and if you just see a shadow figure, then it's just a shadow person. The
I feel
next
like I'd be
one,
more scared with a shadow person because at least with a features, I can rationalize through it's like, "Oh, it's a real person," unless they look actual insane.
I
But
don't
if
know,
they
then I feel
look
like I'd be more scared because
really?
would feel like I'm about to get attacked. Like your brain is turned on. You understand that like you're aware. So if you
Right.
see another like features on this figure, then I'm gonna think
Mhm.
somebody's broken into the house. Versus if I see a shadow figure, then I'm gonna think this is fake, I'm still dreaming or something because
Mhm.
that shouldn't be here.
I
um
suppose.
the next one is the witch or the old hag, and I do have a story
Okay.
that talks about this one.
Hmm.
A specific figure, often described as a crone or a witch like being, sitting on the chest or standing nearby.
Mm.
This type is especially common in folklore, which I love folklore, and historical accounts of sleep paralysis. So I guess back in the day, maybe everybody was seeing the hag, and then in
Maybe.
modern times, we all see the intruder, I guess.
I know a lot
Um,
of was it where was it? Hold on. Let me see. Yes, in Canada, the
mhm,
old hag, they consider it because there's like a different I found a bunch of different like Nigeria and Canada and like some other places.
mhm,
And Canada specifically believed in the old hag and
mm,
how the witches were sitting on the chest. So that kind of
yeah.
remind me of that.
That's kinda interesting that Canada felt that way. I feel like I would expect it more in Europe or something.
Yeah, kind of
Um,
crazy.
the last one is the out-of-body figures or doppelgangers, which
Hmm.
it says is less common, but these involve seeing a version of oneself floating figures near the body. I literally just heard
Hmm.
someone tell this story sort of, but they referred to it more as astral projection, so, like, they became aware in their sleep. And
Hmm.
they said they, like, looked around and saw themselves still sleeping in their bed, and they just were moving around their house and stuff. So I don't know if that's similar, but that
Hmm.
seems, but doppelgangers, I think, would be scary as well, to be honest. Like, it's cool if you like the Vampire Diaries, which I do, but,
Oh
in
my god.
practice, not so cool.
No, because what? Yes, Nigeria also, but they called it they believe of like witchcraft and like spirit attacks, I guess, but they call it
Mhm.
like devil on your back. They call it something else. So they're all similar, but like they just
Yeah.
call it different names.
Isn't that crazy, though? That's, like,
That's
why I love folklore so much, or just, like,
mhm.
storytelling, I guess, in general, folklore, mythology, stuff like that, because, like,
Mhm.
similar stories pop up everywhere across like, all
Yeah.
across time, all across different and I like, different, cultures and regions
Mhm.
and time periods and everything, and it's so interesting to me because I'm like, yes, people sort of traveled around, like, there was migration still, but was there enough that these stories were traveling from, like, culture to culture, or is there some truth to it where you know what I'm saying? Like, if there's
I
truth
see
to
what
it,
you're
then it
saying.
would pop up in really similar ways, but, like, different cultures, different languages would probably describe things similar because they're saying the same
Mhm.
thing, but differently, and just, like, translating between languages
Right.
could get things a little mixed up, so, like, I think it's probably somewhere in the middle is the answer, but, you know,
Yeah. I feel like they all have different versions, but
yeah. But then there's
which
also a
makes
lot
it
of, like,
scarier.
yes, but I was gonna say also there is a lot of like conquering throughout time. And so,
Mhm.
you know, as the Mongols conquered whoever, they would bring their own stories and traditions and be like, no, this is true. And so then, you know, they do blur between languages and between populations and stuff like that. So there could be
Yeah.
some explanations for it, but I choose to believe that it's because it's so real that it was just showing up everywhere. That's my answer.
Same.
Mhm.
I agree. But talking about this, do you want to move on to like actual stories that we found?
Yes.
Okay.
My brother and I shared a room for a very long time, up until adulthood, in parentheses, small house, poor, etc. Back then, my brother was heavier and developed some mild sleep apnea and would often choke himself awake and would wake me up too. I used to suffer from pretty intense sleep paralysis in that room, but it was usually just the normal, quote, I can't move, I can't talk stuff. Every once in a while, I would have an episode and look over at my brother, and there would be a shadowy figure stretched out over him, completely parallel to him. Fast forward years later, talking with my parents and him at my parents' new house, my brother starts talking about his sleep paralysis. He said it was usually pretty standard, but once in a while, he would have an episode where a shadowy figure was directly above him, just staring at him. Just like that, a rush of memories I pushed away came back and I freaked out. And I told him what I used to see. Absolutely creepy for the both of us. This particular experience slash story is what changed my mind on paranormal activity and what I believe in. Ever since talking about it with him, a ton of other memories have come forward in our heads about that house and other things. My personal opinion is that sleep paralysis is a random brain function, the scientific explanation, that the brain is almost asleep, but awake enough to make some weird things happen. But what's to say that certain energies or beings or whatever don't use that kind of brain function as a hotspot to get noticed or come through? My brother and I experiencing the same thing from different angles more than once while growing up is too much for a coincidence, even for someone who, even to this day, is pretty cynical about paranormal and very selective about things I choose to believe. I think that's a great point. Maybe the fact that you're somewhere between being asleep and awake is like a weak spot or like a sensitive spot where if there is something out there, you might be more susceptible to them either messing with you or more
Mhm.
susceptible to seeing something that's
Mhm.
already there, but normally the brain like can't see it or chooses to ignore it or something. So
Right.
maybe
I also find it interesting that both didn't you say both people got it?
both brothers had sleep paralysis. He used to
Oh,
wake
I thought
up
it was
and
a
see a
sister and a
figure
brother.
hovering. Both brothers. Why
Okay.
do you always assume anyone's a girl
I
in these
don't
stories?
know,
My
dude.
brain, my brain always assumes that it's men. So it might be me. I might be the problem. But
Am
when it
I the
said that
problem?
it was his
No, but I
brother that
think yeah.
when it said that it was his brother he was sharing a room with, I assumed it was brothers that would share the room together. Not always the case. Like I shared a room with my older brother for a couple of years, but I think that
Huh.
ended when I was 5. But
Yeah, but you're a girl.
yeah. So that's
So
why I
it's
was
like
like, these guys
naturally.
were older. These guys were older, so I assumed
Oh,
it
I
was
see
both
what you're
guys.
saying. I see what you're
This
saying.
is not
Okay.
important at all. This is not important to the story. But he
The
would wake
the
up.
2 minute span is coming to show with us. Anyways,
Attention
continue.
span? You called it the light
Attention span.
span. Yes.
Attention.
He would wake up
But
from
yeah.
his sleep paralysis and see
Mhm.
this figure hovering over his brother's body. And then his brother said he used to wake up from his sleep paralysis and see a figure hovering over his body. So
Dude,
were they having sleep paralysis at the same time? Or is this figure always hovering over his brother's body at night? And it's
no,
just like, oh,
because
well,
I
who woke
think
up
it's real.
today?
No, because if it happened to both people in the same room, how is it
Right,
not real? Like,
right.
it's not like, yes, they're brothers, but they're not twins. They don't have like the telepathy shit.
Hmm. That's
So I'm
proof if you
like,
ask me.
so I'm like, please let me know and please explain. Because what
Hmm.
is that shit?
Yeah.
But I think that is the creepiest shit ever. And it's not
Hmm.
like, oh, it's at least it's not that creepy. Like,
But
yes,
that's like
there's
really
something.
unsettling to be like, we saw the
Yeah,
same thing. That's really unsettling. I'd be like, sorry, mom and dad, I'm never staying here again.
I'm not
I
staying
don't
with
know
them
how you're going to stay here after hearing two people say that
because
that
I would
happened to
not
both of them.
stay with the brother. I would not stay with my sibling
It was
after
at their
that if
parents'
that
house.
ever
Well,
happened.
yeah. Yeah, because
Because
it
that always
also could be
happens
the
with
brother
them,
that's the problem. Yeah.
the both brothers.
Yeah.
No, because that's actually kind of crazy. And it's like if it is real, which makes me more concerned because they saw the same exact figure.
Mhm.
If it's like, okay, it's the same like idea, whatever, it's more explainable, but it's the same
Mhm.
exact figure, the same exact thing, like action and everything. So I'm like, what is going on here? What is
Well, and
this?
if I was the brother who, like, woke up and saw it hovering over the other brother, I'd be like, "Well, thank God it's attached to you, obviously. I'm safe. So if I stay away from you, then I'm good."
I should be fine.
Yeah,
So he thought. And then he wakes up and he sees it. Or I guess
probably.
he no, yeah, he wakes
It
up.
probably splits its time, like, it's got shared custody of the 2 of them.
It got shared cuz
Or they've got shared custody of it.
of the yeah, of it.
Mhm.
Oh, dude, that's actually so creepy. No, because what do you mean they see the like all of these I fear that all of them are very similar as like
Mhm.
oh, you see like a demon or you see a shadows figure or something on top of you or like moving or whatever and you can't move. But the fact that both of them saw it, I don't it would have been creepier if they both saw it at the same time. But if they
Oh,
both
yeah.
saw it,
Like, imagine
no,
you look
because
over and you notice your
no.
brother's eyes are open, and you're like, "Wait, is he seeing that too?" If only
No.
he had
No,
thought to,
no, no,
like,
no,
look and
no.
see if his brother was awake. He
Absolute.
was probably way too
I would just
distracted
not.
by the Dementor hovering
Yeah.
over him.
And even if I was like how you kind of like rationalized it and you kind of was like, okay, this can't happen. Even if I was trying to rationalize it, I would never open my eyes and be like, or not even open and be like, hey, I'm looking over to my brother. Is it on him as well? I would never do that. Because what if it's actually on him too and you see it too? Then what are you
Mhm.
going to do?
Go
No.
back to sleep, I guess. Try my method.
No, because, no, that's odd for you too. How do you just go back to sleep?
Well, I never saw anything, so it's not like I was hiding
I
from
mean, we saw a
anything.
dream.
Yeah.
And it's not like a nice dream. It was a scary dream. It was a
I just
nightmare.
thought I'd test it out, see if that was I was doing my research. That
You
was
were doing your
experiment
research.
A.
No, that's
Other
odd.
experiments trying to force myself to move, and I
No,
wish I, like, that's
because
actually hilarious when I put it that
that
way.
is so first you were like you're like, okay, whatever, with the dolls, the glass dolls, you're like, oh, they're my friends. We love them. I coexist with them. So when I was about 11 or 12, I used to absolutely hate sleeping in my own room as I used to have nightmares. So I would usually sleep on a small gymnastics mat on my sister's floor because she didn't really care, so I did it a lot. I had another nightmare, so I was sleeping on my sister's floor again. When I woke up, I went to turn to lay on my side and I couldn't move. I was really confused, so I opened my eyes and turned my head to my sister to say something, but nothing came out. I then heard a crackling noise to my right. Side note, my sister had a very small cubby, like closet in the corner of her room. When I turned my head, I saw a white, pale, skinny creature in her cubby. Think of it like a rake creature that was trending a few years ago. It was standing with its head as it turned because it was taller than the ceiling. It had to have been over 7 feet tall. It then started making more crackling noise. It crawled onto the ceiling and out the cubby. It started going towards my sister, but it kept its eyes on me. I physically could not close my eyes, and trust me, I was trying to. It then crawled down the wall and was now inches away from my sister. I was finally able to close my eyes and was constantly repeating, which felt like forever, but then I literally jolted up. It was pitch black and in the room, and I was scared to look around. I woke my sister up and was starting to cry and was telling her what happened. She let me sleep in her bed for the rest of the night. It took me forever to fall asleep, but I finally did. I will never open my eyes again as I'm too scared to. I've had sleep paralysis almost regularly since then, but thankfully I haven't had one in a month, and hopefully this doesn't trigger one because I would actually have a mental breakdown. No, because I would too.
Okay, it's like anything that's, like,
Hmm.
white and skinny
Oh yeah,
makes me think of
skinny and also
skinwalkers.
tall. Like this mofo
Skinwalkers.
was tall.
I wonder if they were in Appalachia, because that's a skinwalker area. But, I don't
I
think
wonder. I
skinwalkers
wonder. I
hang out
wonder.
in a cubby. I don't really understand what they mean by cubby, because I'm
I
thinking
don't
of a
also
closet.
because no, she said it was by a closet or something like that. But when I
Mhm.
think of a cubby, I think of like a smaller cubby. I guess
Mhm.
like there's sections. So I'm like, how did a 7 foot creature fit in a cubby? because
Which is
that's
actually
small.
creepier when you think of that, and I think of it,
Yeah.
like, climbing out of the cubby and,
Yeah.
like, "Wait, where did all
That
that come
reminds me of a
from? How deep
spider.
is that cubby?" Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Spiders.
And spiders, dude, I hate spiders. As I have one right here, you probably cannot see it
That's a
because it's
spider
like an
web, I don't think
invisible.
there's a spider
No,
in
no, no,
it.
there's a spider on there. I don't know if you can see
Oh.
it because it's like invisible or white or whatever. You probably can't see it. But also question, this is not
Mhm.
related to the sleep paralysis, but why is she sleeping on a gymnastics mat? Also, another comment, terrifying that this creature was literally like, yes, it crawled out or whatever, but it was climbing on the walls and it had like the eyes
Looking
were,
at her.
yes. I'm like, I would
It was like, "What you
actually
gonna
die.
do? You're not gonna do nothing."
What are you going to do when I eat
No.
her? I would actually die and scream and
Mhm.
die. Did I say
Mhm.
die? I would die. I don't
Oh my god.
understand.
Okay, my second story. Ever since I first heard about sleep paralysis, I was really afraid of getting it one day. I wanted to learn lucid dreaming, but my fear was getting in my way. At some point, I don't remember when it happened, I lost my fear and I got really interested in sleep paralysis. I think it might have been around the time that I started to watch more scary movies and play more scary video games. The thrill of being scared got me hooked, and I wanted to experience sleep paralysis. But being the lazy person that I am, I never really pursued my goal of lucid dreaming, and I never had sleep paralysis either. Then, one day, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I immediately realized that I couldn't move. I could not talk either, and quickly realized that I was experiencing sleep paralysis. That's when I saw a person standing in the corner of my room. I got really excited, not scared, just happy to finally experience it. At some point, I woke up and thought about how cool it was, so I tried to do it again. I was really tired, and I don't remember what I did. But I managed to get sleep paralysis another time, only this time, I kept slipping into a normal dream, if there is such a thing, and back into sleep paralysis. I dreamt about a crazy naked murderer breaking into our house, and when I was back in sleep paralysis, I think I saw the murderer from my dream in the corner of my eye. Still, I was happy to experience it all. I woke up again and tried getting into sleep paralysis again. Managed to do it, and this time I actually did get scared. I remembered something I had read a few years ago about sleep paralysis, saying that a lot of people see the Hat Man standing in their room. I don't know why, but the thought of it really frightened me, and I woke right back up from sleep paralysis. Once I was awake again, I got really mad at myself for not just staying in paralysis, but I thought that I would just go back one more time. The next time I woke up was in the morning, and I had to go to work. That was worse than any nightmare.
I think that reminds me of you and how you're like,
Let's just try it again. No,
I
yeah, the
think
fact that he,
this
like,
like
went back to
you were
sleep and he was
Data.
like, "And it happened
Yeah.
again." Yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me of that, and also she kind of, and not that you want it to happen, but that I'm assuming it's a she because I always do.
Mhm.
Um she like always wanted to happen. It's,
Mhm.
you know what I think of? Like hypnotism or like whenever people get hypnotized, whenever it happens, cuz I watch videos on that.
Mhm.
And when you really want it to happen and you try so hard to like close your eyes and like follow what they're doing or whatever, it never
Mhm.
happens. So I'm
Mhm.
kind of shocked that like she thought about it so hard and she wanted it so bad and it still happened. Kind of shocked about that.
Yeah. The thing that surprised me about it was the whole lucid dreaming thing because I
Mhm.
know very little about lucid dreaming. I think I've, like, seen a video or two about it, and it's a
Mhm.
cool concept, like, the idea that you can kind of control your dreams or at least be really present within the dream even
Right.
if you're not in control of it. It's a cool idea, but I agree that it is scary, so I can see how
Mhm.
you, like, don't wanna play with that, but then the fact that this person's
She
like,
did.
yeah, eventually, but, like, initially, they were like,
Yeah,
"I don't wanna, like, mess with any of that."
me.
Um, but then the fact that they were like, "But then I got over it, and I was like, I wanna do sleep
How
paralysis," and
does
I was
one get over sleep paralysis or like the fear of one?
I'm
Do you have it that
surprised
regularly? So you're just like, "Oh,
I
this happens."
I'm surprised that after it happened the first time, they weren't like, "Actually, that was terrible and terrifying, and I don't wanna do it again." So the fact
Right.
that they were like, "Again and again and again," and they were fine with
Yeah.
that, that was surprising to me. Also, the Hat Man
Yes.
is interesting because I totally forgot
Mhm.
that people think that they see the Hat Man. which is another
What is the Hat Man?
character. I mean, he's not really a character. He's like an icon like Annabelle, except he's not
Ah, okay.
of this plane or something, but it's just like
Mhm.
a shadow figure or like a demon or whatever of that sort of like category.
Right.
But people just enough people have seen him and like seen
Mhm,
this man in a top hat that
mhm,
he has Hat Man as his title, which is kind of similar to like
which
people
is
saying
strange.
that when they experience sleep paralysis, they all see the old hag or the witch or something. So it's just interesting that our minds all form these like similar experiences, I guess.
Actually, I don't think that strange because when I think of a shadow man, I think of like a person, obviously a shadow man, but with a top hat. I don't know why, but every single time someone says a shadow man, I think of
You're like,
the
you need a
top hat.
hat.
You need a hat. Wear the goddamn hat. No, but
Mhm.
I think that it makes sense, but it's also strange, you know,
Mhm.
that everyone also has like the same interpretations, even though
I guess a lot of us
like
we like grow up with the same
right,
stories and we're seeing the same media, so I guess it does make sense that we'd be like
that's
having
true.
similar fears or the same fears. So I think it kind of makes sense that our brains would
But
come
the
up with the
cultural
same.
differences. But I guess even
Mhm.
culturally, it is quite the same because of like Canada and Nigeria. Like even though that official name is different, the
Mhm.
idea is very similar. So that I fear, I, it kind of makes sense.
And worldwide people are scared of men in hats. Even Lila doesn't like men in
Yeah.
hats. She'll lose
Do
her mind barking
so
if she sees a man in a hat.
because they're untrustworthy. Because like,
Yeah,
what do you mean you have a hat?
if he's got sunglasses on too, we are going a different direction. She is not about any of it.
Oh my god! And both of them
She's
at
out.
once?
Too much.
You no, too much. You're doing too much. No, but yeah, I think that's weird and strange and kind of fun. Well,
hmm
kind of fun for her because she likes to do it, which is very strange cuz like what do you mean you like to do it?
I guess there
And
is
it
something
happened two
sort of
times.
exciting about it just being like a unique
Like unnormal.
experience, I guess, or
Yeah.
just, yeah, abnormal and kind of,
Mhm.
yeah, I can see the appeal or the
Appeal.
interest. Yeah.
It's kind of like skydiving and the adrenaline. So maybe it's like the adrenaline of
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I see
Yeah.
something."
Yeah. Or just the
I
idea
don't
that
know.
we have such little control over such a
Mhm.
big part of our brains. So the idea that you could maybe
Mhm.
explore something beyond what you're used to having control of is
That's true.
appealing, I suppose,
Maybe
or at least
appealing.
like intriguing.
I haven't experienced sleep paralysis until today, and honestly, it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. I woke up in the middle of the night and I could see a human figure standing on my open door that I could see through my mirror in front of my bed. But it was really dark and really hard to see. He suddenly starts to approach me and puts a bag on my head, trying to choke me, and the only thing I could think about was being kidnapped. But I couldn't move my arms or scream for help. But then the guy just disappears, and I was just lying there, alone and scared, trying to scream, but my voice wasn't working. I tried to slowly move my fingers until I could move my arms and then regain my movement back again. I turned on all of the lights in the house to see if there really was someone there, but there wasn't. I discovered that sleep paralysis is a thing, and here I am, hoping it never happened again. So, what do you think? That's also kind of crazy because most of the ones that we read was like a demon or like something unnatural, but this is like very much just a human.
No, I need to start with why do you have a mirror facing your bed? Is that what she said? It faces her bed? Or is it just
I
in her
think
room?
I think you know what happened? I think it's the bed is like back where I have it, and then this is what I have too. My mirror is in the front. So if there's something like back there, I can see it. But obviously, I'm assuming the bed is
Hmm.
by the door and the mirror is right there so she could or they.
Some people have really strong opinions about having mirrors in your room because they can potentially be portals. So
Oh my
I used to
god.
have a massive mirror in my room, like much larger than a doorway.
Mhm. God damn.
Never really bothered me either. Like it would cross my mind if I had to like
Mhm,
go across my room in the middle of the night. Like if I had
mhm,
to walk past the mirror, I definitely walked swiftly. But in general, it didn't really bother me. But the
mhm,
more that I've heard about it and the more people say don't put a mirror in your room, the more I'm kind of
mhm.
like, I agree.
No, because
So,
my moral of the story, don't have mirrors. Ever. No, because my parents, they have it's kind of like a bed, but it's a built-in mirror in the back, and then they
Mm.
have like a dresser and a mirror there, like in front, but they're like diagonal, but there's like this tiny
No.
of a
Sliver
slither that kind of
overlaps and creates a portal.
yes. So I'm like,
Yep.
that is so strange.
And then something can just like reach out and grab them by the ankle and yank them in. But back to the story, I feel like that's kind
Yes.
of an interesting one because it's not the stereotypical sleep paralysis story, like saying
Yes.
that something was trying to put a hood over her head. I'm like
Or like
curious
a
if she
bag.
actually felt, yeah, curious if she actually felt that because,
No, because I think it's odd because it's more realistic in a sense that they're putting a bag over your head, so it's like they said, it's a kidnapping
more like
feeling.
a kidnapping, yeah. Or the
Yeah,
intruder
so
version because intruders
right.
was one of them. Yeah.
Mhm. And they saw a human figure in like a stance, not like supernatural, I guess, which makes it more well, obviously makes it
Mm-hmm.
more normal and more like I fear that's more scary though. Because like you said, the witch, you in the ditch, that like you're like, okay, that's obviously not real. But this, it's like, oh, it could be real and it couldn't be. Like we don't know.
Maybe that was my sleep paralysis demon. I just saw her in my dream and I just didn't open my eyes. Maybe she would have
Maybe
been there in my room as well
real
if I
life.
just opened my eyes because she was in the dream.
That
Maybe.
oh my god, people no, that makes me question, do people see the same figure in their dream when they open their eyes?
I don't know. I don't even know if everybody, because mine's consistently that it only happened when I was already having a nightmare. So I don't know if people
Mhm.
can go from a normal dream straight into sleep paralysis. I'd be curious,
I
if it can
mean,
be a
I
nightmare or a
fear
regular dream.
right. Like a nightmare can consist of obviously some of it is unnatural, and then
Hmm.
some of it could be very much natural in the sense that like it's a normal not a normal, but it's like a more common occurrence, like kidnapping and stuff like that, than
Hmm.
like a demon in your room.
Yeah,
Imagine
true.
seeing this. I don't know if you can see it that well, but imagine seeing any of these just in the
Yeah,
corner of your bed.
yeah.
No, thank you next.
Yeah,
But
I
I don't know.
would probably go sleep in my car after that.
I would
I'd
probably
take
go to a
Lila and
hotel,
I'd
but
go
I feel
sleep in
like
my
that's
car.
worse.
She'd be like, "What are we doing? And why are you in my spot back here?" Because she gets the whole back seat, so she'd be like, "What are you doing in
I
my spot?"
why are we
Yeah,
sleeping? But I feel like she would understand because dogs, like we
she'd
discussed in the
probably
first
sense it
episode.
first. Yeah, I wonder because I have never had sleep paralysis
Hmm.
when she was here. So like, if it was the case
Hmm.
that there was like a demon in my room, she would
Hmm.
sense it. She senses everything. She hears someone like coming down the hallway way before I hear it. She would sense that and she might like bark and pull me out of it. She's my
That's actually
savior.
kind of crazy. She's my imagine she just like lets you there.
Just leaves me. She's like, this
Yeah,
is
she
her
just leaves you
problem.
there.
She's just getting her beauty rest. She's like, this is not my problem.
This is not my problem, and this
She
will.
can have an
Am I
attitude
the
sometimes. I
problem?
could see it. She's the problem.
Dude, I imagine dogs coming to like be a real human or humans turning into
Hmm.
dogs. I can see it.
All right, here we go. Last story.
La story.
I lucid dream a lot and experience sleep paralysis sort of rarely. If I do, it's usually not scary and I relax. But this was the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. I promise this is all 100% true. I woke up in the middle of the night, but I mostly have still been dreaming. Everything was dark, and I sleep with my door shut. This time it wasn't latched, so it could open by just a little push. I hear distant running, like someone jogging towards my door. It sounded oddly human, but I reasoned it was my cat. I hear something shuffle outside my door, and saw the door slowly move open with a thud. It's very dark, but I see it slowly opening up. At this point, I'm still not scared, and I naturally thought it was my cat walking in, and pushed open the door, and I called out to her quietly, "Kitty, come here, kitty." I waited a few seconds, and it's quiet. I hear a very eerie meow, like a man slash animal hybrid was trying to imitate my cat. It was the strangest thing. I felt my heart sink, and I suddenly hear a deep, demonic voice growling and speaking strange words. As this happened, I feel myself being sucked into my bed and being unable to move. I can feel many hands pushing my arms down, and I kid you not, demonic laughter and little girls giggling, like in horror movies. I could not see anything, but there was whispers and very creepy, distant droning sounds. My heart was beating so fast I could feel the adrenaline surging through my arms. I woke up and it was all gone, but still pitch black just like my dream. I don't know exactly if it was a dream or not. It may not sound scary, but the amount of fear you experience is unlike anything I've ever had. You're alone, you're meeting what seems to be Satan himself. You can feel a sense of pure evil that would crush the strongest man. This dream definitely made me more fearful of ghosts and the paranormal things.
No, because she's so real for saying, I met Satan. She's so real for that. No, because there was so much happening. Like, even in the stories that we read, there's like a storyline, right? This one, I feel
Mhm.
like it was so chaotic. Like, there's so many things that are happening once. I'm like,
Yeah, the door's opening, there's a demonic voice, you're being
yeah.
held down, girls are
Mm-hmm.
giggling. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot going
So I was
on.
like, that is kind of. Did they have their eyes open? Or was it closed?
Yes, because they saw the door open. They just
Oh, yeah.
couldn't see
I
what
don't know
was
if you did.
there.
Okay.
And yeah,
Okay. Because
yeah.
I was
But it
like,
doesn't sound like they ever saw a figure. It sounds like they just mostly felt and heard
heard.
everything. They didn't really see anything.
Mm-hmm. Which is
Yeah.
odd. Because a lot of the times you would see something. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's why the sleep paralysis happens because it's like your dream or your nightmare. So I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
that nightmare. But
Mm-hmm.
in reality. So I'm like
Yeah.
kind of crazy that there wasn't any like real sounds. Or not sounds,
Yeah.
but like people.
Any
Or
visuals.
yeah, visuals. That's the word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That's why I'm here. It's also not the same sort of normal progression of a sleep paralysis, I guess.
Yeah.
And because it has just like a lot of other things with the I guess like the hands holding him down, though that could just be like you can't move, so that's
Crazy.
the paralysis part. And then
Yeah.
the demon was there, but usually I feel like usually these are experiences with one single other person or the witch or the shadow figure. Like it's only one,
Mm-hmm.
so there's just a lot of additional like stimulation going on
Things that were
basically.
happening. Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, what was your favorite story? Because now that I'm thinking back, all of these happened. Well, the first story, I like the first story because both of them, it happened to both of them. Or like the
Mhm.
what's it called? The
Oh yeah, the
twins,
brothers.
the brothers.
Mhm.
The one that I read about the sisters, but it only happened to one of
Mhm.
them,
Mhm.
which was
That
kind
one
of
was
weird.
creepy. That was creepy crawly things crawling around the ceiling
It's creepy.
really if I was like
Bother
reading all
you?
these myself in a dark room or something, that one would probably get me the most. But I
Really?
also hate spiders, so I think the
Yeah.
fear is already there. I do
Do
think
you
I
know
like
I
the
wish you
brothers
can
the
see the
best.
spider? Like
But yeah, I think the brothers was the scariest one that I read at least.
yeah, I think the brothers, I don't think any of them were scary. I feel like once you experience it yourself, you're not gonna find it scary. So like yes, they're creepy, but I find it the most like abnormal, I guess.
I feel
Very
like once
like
you
the
experience it
twins.
yourself, it's gonna be super creepy.
Well, yeah, obviously. Except for
Like
the
way
girl
worse.
who liked doing it and who wanted
Yeah,
to do
that one
it.
was weird. Yeah.
But
And
we
I was
love
like,
her. It's
it
so
was so
real.
much fun. I decided to do it again.
But how do you just decide to? She like stayed up for 2 days straight. Be like, okay, I'm preparing. I'm preparing to
Yeah,
have a sleep
for
paralysis
sure tonight.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen today. And if it doesn't, I'm suing everyone. I'm suing my
Yeah.
brain.
Okay, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, thank you extra. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and maybe leave
And
a comment
subscribe.
and say hello and subscribe. We also have our Instagram, our TikTok, and we'll see you again